It's our great honor here at the chapel to have a second exhibition of Andy Plioplys' work. The first was some 7 years ago now, in 2006. And about a year ago, I was in conversation with Andy and asked if he was thinking of doing any more new large-scale work, knowing that he would be, that might suit the chapel. I've seen a number of his installations and been familiar with his work over a number of years. And so, of course, he was thrilled to be asked and said, yes, I have something exactly in mind that I think would be perfect for the chapel. And so we talked about it over a period of some months. And what he came up with is this 3-part exhibition to fit 3 of our different gallery spaces here. As you can see from this building, it is a vast building with great spaces in it, and his literally cosmic view of the world and of art, the pieces behind me, the pieces over in the transept, really speak to something of the vast space of this particular place and our sense here of exploring the nobility of our great human quest for meaning, which I think is a quest that Andy very much shares in, both in his scientific work and now as an artist. So it's our great honor to have this work, and we are having a reception this afternoon to welcome visitors to see the work for the first time. It'll be up for the next few weeks, and we look forward to having many, many people come and explore the nature of Andy's work, be challenged by it, and hopefully go away with questions of their own about what is it, what shapes our memories, how is this all tied into the great questions of the cosmos, how do we make art that even speaks to these things.
Where do we come from? That's been a central question underlying my artistic explorations for several decades. We are human beings with consciousness, awareness, compassion. Billions of years ago, a supernova star exploded. The remnants of that material congealed and formed our star, our sun. It formed our Earth. Literally every single molecule in our bodies came from the death of a supernova star. We are all literally stellar material, all of us. Life is bound up with death. Death is bound up with life. That's the prayer of Contusili, one of the oldest written Indo-European prayers. The death of a star laid the foundation for life here on Earth. In the piece across from me, Cassiopeia, in 1572, a supernova exploded. It was witnessed here on Earth. And the remnants of it are menacing, foreboding, the mask of death. About 8,000 years ago, the other piece next to me, a supernova exploded, producing what's now called the Veil Nebula. Peaceful, serene, tranquil. New star formation is taking place there. And if you look at the piece to the right, you'll see a profile of a kingly expression, kingly face with a crown, breathing, a cosmic ether, cosmic creation. In the beginning, there was the Word. Where do we come from? We have our culture, we have our traditions, we have our language. For us, live from Europe and the Americas is basically Indo-European origins. And there's much linguistic and anthropologic evidence suggesting that the site of Indo-European origins was in central Turkey. One city, which is 10,000 years old, perhaps the oldest city known, excavated, was in Chatal Hoyuk. And 100 photographs are incorporated in the veil that I took of those excavations. This is a rather peculiar city, being the oldest and first in human civilization. Every family had their own dwelling, their own house. There was a cubicle, a generous-sized cubicle structure with subdivisions. But there was no separation between the buildings at all, no sidewalks at all. How did you get into your own house? Well, you had to climb up ladders. The big structure was there. You'd climb up ladders, walk over the roof to where your hole is, and go down a ladder into your house. At night, the ladders were pulled up so to prevent wild animals from climbing up as a defense from wild animals. 6,000 years later, in the same general area, we have the Hittite Empire. Now the cities are different. You have massive fortifications, massive walls built. The Hittite military power equaled that of Ramses II of Egypt. The biggest military power in the world was equaled by the Hittite military power. One of the kings of the Hittites just decided one day to go down and destroy Babylon just for fun. He didn't want to conquer it, he didn't. He just destroyed it. Military aggression. Where do we come from? These Indo-European sources, where do we come from? Do we come from that civilization where the only thing they feared was at night wandering wild animals? Or do we come from that civilization of military aggression? Agriculture, cities started in central Turkey. Our traditions, Indo-European language started there. But to build cities, you need to have social interaction. People have to work together. You have to be one with the other. Again, from the prayer of Kantuzli, I found myself bread, but I never ate it by myself. I found myself water, but I never drank it by myself. The same as communion, later this morning. Other social interaction, dance, whirling. And we have pieces over here, whirling and dancing away. In a large wall installation I did in Atlanta last year, I learned that indeed it takes two to tango. And more recently here in Chicago, another wall installation, that mirror neurons indeed do know how to do the swing. Where do we come from? We have consciousness, we have self-awareness. But for our thinking process, our own being, we rely all the time on a vast storehouse of memory. Our memories make us what we are. We rely on that. In very sad cases where memories are stripped away from us, such as in Alzheimer's disease, we progressively lose our very humanity. So where are these memories stored? We have 100 billion neurons in our central nervous system, trillions of connections between them. They're called synapses. And the theory is that there's mild changes in the connection power between synapses that stores all our memory. Well, I suggest that that's insufficient. I suggest we have to look at other levels, sub-molecular, subatomic levels. Maybe we have to look at the quantum level of quantum mechanics for memory storage. We have so many memories our entire lives, and every day we're accumulating more and more of them. We're not growing new neurons, we're not growing new synapses. Hewlett-Packard and IBM are actively pursuing memory storage in computers at that level, called quantum computers. But with quantum, you come up with fuzziness, you come up with uncertainty, you come up with incredible weirdness, things like entanglement and action at a distance. These really bothered Albert Einstein, and he wanted to reject it entirely as being too spooky. That's his word, spooky. But they're real, they're actually real. Maybe we have to look further down in strings, the string theory, the ultimate small. Strings vibrate, they dance constantly, and they're dancing in our world, in our dimensions, but they're also dancing in many, many other dimensions. We're up to 18 different dimensions. We have 3 spatial dimensions and 1 of time, but where would all these other dimensions be? A physicist at Harvard University, Lisa Randall, thinks that they're just everywhere. We're just not seeing them, we're not in them. And that there may be other universes in these other dimension states and all these other, they may even be here. There may be another Rockefeller Chapel, another sermon being given with the similarities and dissimilarities right now, just millimeters from us. Lisa Randall refers to this phenomenon of our universe being like a piece of paper floating in multidimensional space. And that's where we have these pieces allude to the two-dimensional universe. These are two-dimensional states of my mind with my brain and my neurons included in it, floating in our three-dimensional world. Where do we come from? According to Lisa Randall, these universes can touch, they can collide, and when they do, a massive amount of energy is produced in addition to a new universe. Do we come from the collision of membranes like this? Memory storage is looked at downstairs in the series Chromodynamics. I took a previous piece, Symphonic Thoughts, and looked at it microscopically took a tiny section of it, enlarged it, added some changes to the appearance, and we end up with very colorful pieces full of quantum uncertainty, quantum fuzziness, and just packed with strings and stringiness of string theory throughout them downstairs. Of interest, if you do it once more, you take, and now do the same microscopic technique on these pieces, you blow them up, and you end up with ponds and water lilies. You end up with Claude Monet's paintings. So if you delve deep enough into the fine structure, you find yourself back to where you started. Where do we come from? We have 100 billion neurons in our central nervous system. There are approximately 100 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy. And with Hubble Deep Space Telescope, there are approximately 100 billion galaxies. I don't think that these numbers are coincidental. I think that there's something to the similarity here. I think that there is a cosmic consciousness that pervades our entire universe. In these pieces, if you look in the backgrounds of them, you'll see that they're just packed with neuronal profiles, human cerebral cortical neurons. These two pieces, and in the profiles encase recent photographic memories of a trip I did to Turkey, but they also encase memories of ancient civilizations, ancient peoples, permeating both of these two pieces. In a similar sort of fashion, I think there is a presence that permeates the universe that produces the energy for life, the force for life. You could call this the life force. You could call this Mother Nature. You could call this God. Where do we come from?
Andy asked me to say something, and let me thank him here for giving me the opportunity to say something about his work. I must say, he just gave me an explanation, and it never has become so clear to me how intricate and multi-layered his work is as today. And I am also very grateful to Andy for perpetuating the Hittites in this very unexpected way. He brought them into the service today in one of the readings with a very beautiful passage, and also through his artwork, especially, of course, the piece with the 300 photos of Hattusha, with the whole excavation team in it. And it's just a very special way of keeping the Hittites alive. So thanks, Andy.
It's really been a wonderful opportunity to see Andy's work today. Andy and I go back a long time to the late 70s, early 80s, and my first contact with his artwork was the work that he had done intermittently with his medical training. And he had presented a few works of art at the American Academy of Neurology meeting, which was in Chicago at that time. And the abstract nature of the work did not fit with some of the country landscape scenes that were being presented by other neurologists to their art exhibit, and were actually rejected by the American Academy of Neurology at that exhibit. So it was with considerable satisfaction that I saw that the American Academy of Neurology commissioned Andy to provide artwork for their new building that was opened last year. This exhibit is far more profound, I believe, than some of the other work, or perhaps it's more comprehensible to me. But the idea of death and life in the universe and the origins of our civilization has really been a very impressive contribution, and I hope it becomes more widely appreciated.
This is a happy day in my life because it's a special day in Andy's life. I am so proud of him. A teacher can have no greater reward than seeing his students succeed. Very few of us have had two careers in life, in which we have met with great success. Andy is an exception. He was a distinguished pediatric neurologist, and now he is a fine artist. I am so happy that our paths crossed later in life.